Shortly after I did all of the collage pieces, I wanted to play around with a mixed media piece, which is really something that I enjoy doing, but sometimes also frustrates me. At the time that I recorded this back in July, I didn't think this piece was done, so I let it sit for a while. And I actually went back to it over the course of the last 2 weeks, trying to uh, see if there were changes I wanted to make to it. As you can see, this evolved from line drawing to me painting in some really pretty teals, layering on bright green, painting in a fluorescent red, and then there's a lot of additional layers that I'll talk us through. But after sitting with this piece for about a week, or I guess it was had to have been 3 weeks at the point I pulled this back out. I decided I liked where it landed and I didn't want to keep working it. So that decision may change again over time, but at this point, as a sketch in my sketchbook, I feel like it was a evolution that landed in a place that was kind of comfortable. And at this point, I was using a silicone scraper to scrape a brown paint that I had mixed. I was trying to match a kind of craft brown paper color. Obviously, you can tell it's a little lighter than that, but I really like the way that the colors play on the craft paper on my desk. And I had a couple things I was chasing here. I had a silicone pen shaped scraper. I pulled through some wet paint. I didn't like how that went, so I then lined it with a paintbrush. I had dropped a pen, I think, or a paintbrush on the piece. So I kind of played around with rolling the end of the handle of the paintbrush across the page. And you're just going to see this whole series of marks disappear. And that's a black paint. Again, that silicone scraper. I really liked the way that silicone scraper moved paint across the page. And there I painted some black and then I used the silicone scraper again for the black. It's just a really nice um, feeling of smushing, I guess, for lack of a better word, the paint across. A little darker teal color, layering in some stripes, pulling one of them down through the piece, and then layering different opacities of the same color to have the color kind of move across, bringing some more of that green in. That green is striking, making the circles disappear. And now I had on the side accidentally had a piece of trace paper fall into some of this paint that I was using, and I really like the way it moved. So some of this is natural trace paper that got splatters on it, and some of them I actually because I liked it so much, I made those marks on the trace paper, and the texture and different layers of this piece are what I tend to like. Again, using a brayer to bring some of that green in, and now I'm using fluorescent pink because the fluorescent red just felt lonely. And bringing some of this pink around the page in different areas, and you're going to see me continue to make little marks across the page. So I brought some of that pink up to the top. I brought it to the bottom right. Now I'm bringing in the clean stripes again, um, buried them, and now want some of those. That's just tissue paper. I bought striped and polka dotted tissue paper that I incorporate into my pieces sometimes. And this is one of the pieces that actually got some blue paint on it. You'll see that the blue paint kind of leaves a remnant on the piece. And then I kind of follow that swoop through and then bring some of that brown back on the surface. And that's about where I thought I hated it. And I continued to play with it for a couple weeks, just pulling it out now and again to look at it to see what I could do next. And after about 2 weeks of doing that, I decided I actually kind of like it the way it is. And it was a really fun project. Again, I was listening to an audiobook while I did it, which was relaxing. And I really like the richness of the colors and the liveliness of the piece in general. Great for a sketchbook, maybe not for my wall in my house.